Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
This is Prabhupada at Stowe Lake, where we'll be going with Jayananda, you know Jayananda. And this is the hat that I'll show you here. So it's extremely rare to get the opportunity. I must tell you that my presentation of what we have of Prabhupada's is a little different than maybe in the museums and historical places around the world. I mean no disregard for those places. They're doing fantastic, wonderful service, preserving everything and keeping it very, very carefully. But I decided with Prabhupada giving me this ability to actually hold and take care of his personal effects, that to share it with others is a must for me, my personal service. And I sometimes am criticized for that, but I feel that you each need the opportunity. We need it now. We need it now to feel Prabhupada's vibrational presence and to just put it away, all of it away for 100 years from now. That's wonderful on many occasions, but in my heart, my Guru, my Prabhupada, expressed to me to give his mercy indiscriminately, right? I'm a book distributor. That's what I do. That's all I know, really. I've distributed books since 1973. And
the year I was born.
The year you were born. Just see. It's auspicious for me. Yeah, I came to San Francisco and I received on the street in San Francisco in the Mission District, which is kind of, it's very attractive now, but it's kind of poverty, kind of, you know, lower middle class and people struggling. But I was going through there and a devotee came with the Bhagavad Gita, and it's the one that's covered over there with the checkered cloth.
That is the same Bhagavad Gita.
No, that one Prabhupada gave me. You know, the original Gita that has Krishna in street of San Francisco. And the devotee, it was a woman devotee, happened to be, which was rare, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know about devotees. I didn't know about Gita, temple, anything. Only thing I knew was I wanted to be vegetarian. I'd been vegetarian for a few years, you know, from my heart. So she gave me this book and she said, you should come to the temple. I didn't know what that meant. I had no concept, but it was just a few blocks from where we were standing. So I gave her $5. She gave me the book, but I gave her $5. That's all I had. So I had to turn around and go back home because I had no money for doing anything else, which is good.
That time you were a student?
I was a hippie. I came in the hippie days. So I was a hippie student. Because many times devotees, they kind of criticize the hippies, oh, this and that. Actually, the hippies gave everything, facility, red carpet for Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't know what to do right or wrong, but when Prabhupada came, the Grateful Dead, the musicians like Jefferson Air, all these different, that you wouldn't know, but great, great musicians of the time, and still to this day, they're looked on as some of the greatest musicians of our era. They gave Prabhupada his first stove. Allen Ginsberg, the poet, gave him a harmonium in different instruments like that. And they came together where we're going to go at Hippie Hill in Golden Gate Park. You will really like it. It's very nice. And they pulled together and sang with Prabhupada and danced with Prabhupada and made that cut into the Western world with dancing and chanting and feasting, because Prabhupada at that time cooked for all of us.
Yeah.
He cooked, you
so
know.
when you met Prabhupada, which year?
73.
73.
Yeah, same
Okay.
year that I came. But I was initiated in 1974. I waited for him to come for Rath
What was
Yatra.
your initial name?
My name, Debbie. Deborah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Debbie was how I was known, Yarber. And Prabhupada gave me the name Danishta. And he told me that this name is the name of a younger gopi, about 5 or 6 years old, that serves Radharani by giving prasad, taking prasadam from Krishna's plate and giving it to Radharani. So he saw I was childlike, like a child, you know, and that kind of service for Radharani has always been a wonderful mood, of course, for me to be a servant of that little gopi. So when I got the Gita, then later on I saw Jayananda and the devotees on the main financial market street downtown, and they were doing Harinam, and I recognized the chant from the hippies, from, you know, music that had been recorded, you know, the Beatles and those. So I went and stood and watched them chant, and I was chanting along. And Jayananda saw I was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra with him. Very unusual back then to know, you know. And so he asked one of the devotees, go tell her to come back to the temple with us. So I kind of followed them along back to the temple, and they fed me prasad. And 2 weeks later, I moved into the temple then. But I waited, we used to get initiated really quickly, but I wanted Prabhupada to be there in the fire jaga, and directly, you know. So I waited until 1974 when he came for Rath Yatra. Yeah. So that was my first real personal connection with him, you know. And that was downtown on Valencia Street, which is in the Mission. And so Swami Bhaktivedanta, Allen Ginsberg, Grateful Dead, Moby Grape, Big Brother and the Holding Company, which was Janis Joplin, one of the most famous departed soul and rock and roll people. These people, when you recognize them in this area, everyone knows, and they're revered as Renaissance musicians of that can't be compared. So when we connect with Prabhupada, how he personally was with them on the same stage and chanting with them and introduced by this great poet, Allen Ginsberg, etc. Whether or not you appreciate what it was they were doing, they were trying to reach transcendental awareness and consciousness. So by Prabhupada's mercy, he came just a few days after they all got together and began his Harinam at Hippie Hill and Stowe Lake and all down Haight Street, you know. And Lord Jagannath was carved on Haight Street. So the original Lord Jagannath in Berkeley, same one, you know. And Prabhupada had so many pastimes on the Haight Street itself, in the midst of these 100,000 hippies who had come from all over. And I was one of them that came later. I didn't see him during that area in the 1960s. I didn't come till 70s. But the remnants of the energy of Prabhupada's vibrational presence is there. It's still there. And it's profoundly present when we speak about him, when we glorify him, and when we recognize how genius, how transcendentally genuine and intelligent he was, being guided by Krishna right through his ear to do this in this location, because there was no better place. And still to this day, this is my home, because there are hundreds of places that Prabhupada visited, where he spoke, where he walked along the beach. As long as you have time for, I can take you to as many places, you know. But to being full circle, I went 20 years and did 18 years actually in Illinois, back where I was born and raised, before I came out here. And after Prabhupada's departure, I started searching, how can I serve Prabhupada in my own unique way. So I went back to Illinois eventually and started a small temple there in the country. And all these different pieces of Tadiya, some of which I already had from Prabhupada, but more and more just kept coming. And I realized, oh, this is my service. I have to expand the ability of others to reach and touch Prabhupada's sacred tadiya. So on that note, this hat of Srila Prabhupada's is never washed after it was worn by him. And so please feel free to, and also the fragrance. A spiritual library in San Francisco in 1991. I gave them a whole set of Srila Prabhupada's books, and I told them, could I please have this set to show my, and I explained who was Prabhupada and my relationship with them. They were very glad to get Prabhupada's Bhagavatams, and they gave me these 3 sets. And so that you can see, here's Brahma Jayati, the Mahavishnu lying in the Garbhodak ocean, each of the, you see, numbered. And if you go to the inside flap, it tells what each
The
part
description,
is.
yes.
Yeah, he described. And of course, Krishna Loka with Radha Krishna. And here's the petals of the lotus flower. So there's so much here. I could take 2 days with you just here. But I know that you want to go on parikram and everything, but I would like to show you just a few things before we go, if that's okay. There was a period of time in New York when Prabhupada finally got the temple in 1966, and he didn't have any instruments. So he wrote to Narayan Maharaj and Srimati Maharajji, who owned the steamship company, and those two got together and got some instruments to send to Prabhupada. Mridanga cover, and some pairs of these kartals. And so Prabhupada, he tested the kartals for the ring and the sound. So he did play these kartals, I know for a fact, and he played them in the New York temple in 1966, maybe into 67, but by then he was getting his own bigger kartals. He had his own set, you know, so these are very nice because I don't have to worry about them breaking or getting damaged, and devotees can spend some time with them. I've always been told it is a dolak, but someone told me yesterday, who was a musician, that it's called Pakavaj. Yes. So this drum has a wonderful history of Prabhupada. You know, when he went to Dr. Mishra's ashram in upstate New York, before he had the temple in New York, 1966, he went to upstate New York where his friend, Dr. Mishra, had a yoga ashram, right? And they had different philosophical views, right?
Yeah.
Right?
God.
So, yeah.
God and living entities.
Yeah, and little impersonal personal differences. But they were friends, and they would laugh together, talk together. But when it came for lecture, Dr. Mishra preferred to give the talk because he had his students there and everything. And then he would ask Prabhupada to lead kirtan. So Prabhupada played this drum there in 1966 when they would go up to Dr. Mishra's ashram with Brahmananda, Gargamuni, and I'm not sure what other devotees might have gone with them. High Grief, yes. And there is a short little video you can see in black and white of Dr. Mishra's ashram and them talking like that. So this was played by Srila Prabhupada, and after Prabhupada went back to New York and founded his own little temple on 26 2nd Avenue, he no longer went up to see Dr. Mishra. He was busy creating temples. So Dr. Mishra had this cloth cover made for it, and made for it, and inside, in his own little handwriting in pencil, could you lift this here? Just this. You see this? He put A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, 1966, and stapled it into there. And then he put it in a special closet and kept it away. No one could play it. And about 25 years later, 66, 77, 86, about 25 years later, a devotee godbrother of mine named Jaya, who had just walked into the 26 Second Avenue Temple and got initiated immediately by Prabhupada. He walked in, got initiated, fire sacrifice, you know, he was there. Prabhupada gave him name Jaya. And then he left. He went on his own journey. He went to different yoga places, etc., down through the years. And he arrived one day at Dr. Mishra's ashram. And Dr. Mishra said, "You're a disciple of Swami Bhaktivedanta. You should have his drum."
Oh.
Boom. And then the drum was given to me over the years for this collection. But that's the mercy. It's indiscriminate. We just have to take it up. You know, it's everywhere. You know, Prabhupada's mercy is everywhere. It's indiscriminate. And if I can be able to show you this, then anyone can get mercy. Because I'm no one. I'm no one. I'm last on the list of Prabhupada's servants. But he gave us so much, and there's so much all over the world. So take the opportunity, go to every place. And if they give you an opportunity to touch it, and ask to touch it if it's maybe available. Because I've been criticized, and it's okay. I'm always criticized for being, what would you say, a little bit of a rebel and a little bit independent. Not a good thing, they say. But I feel that you getting to have this access, this much access, is just me sharing the mercy that's overwhelming me. I must do it. So criticism is irrelevant because I glorify all that they do to preserve everything for the next 1,000 years or 100 years or whatever. But this, we need it now. We need it now. You know? You came here to this little spot next to Golden Gate Park so Prabhupada could provide you with vibrational presence. It's a different dimension of his presence, different dimension of his mood and his glory, you know? Some of us don't read so much. Some of us aren't so philosophical. Maybe we're not high up on a hierarchical ladder. We are just down here, but look, he left things everywhere. I went, in my course of my service to him, I cleaned his rooms. And because we were book distributors, the women got a chance to have a little more personal association. So we would clean his rooms in the morning when he was on his morning walk. And during that time, we would pick up things like Prabhupada brushed his teeth with the eucalyptus twigs, you know, eucalyptus. And so we would take those, and they were priceless, right? But we would take them back to the temple and give them all out. I have none. I didn't save one, right? But I did save other things. Prabhupada's neck beads and things like that, you know, that he personally touched. But it comes back 1,000 times more, right? If you give away, it comes back 1,000 million times more. In 1970, early 70s, this would have been 1970 or 71. This was, I think you call it thali?
Katori.
Yeah, from his dishes, his stainless steel plates and everything. And of course it's very plain, it's not fancy or anything. So when the servant, Upendra, would wash these, they would get mixed up with everyone else's dishes sometimes, or not quite mixed up, but at least in the same area. And devotees were just kind of taking this and that, not even realizing it was Prabhupada's, right? So Upendra scratched, because back then we didn't have, very special, he just scratched on each piece ACBS. So to try to keep the devotees from using Prabhupada's plates. You see? Yeah. So Prabhupada, he used these dishes quite a bit in a lot in India. It's hand sewn on the top, and then machine sewn with the rest, but you can see the hand sewing around the edge here. And
हाथ का सिला हुआ.
Prabhupada's kurta, and it's very, very long. It came down to like his knees. It's very beautiful. And when you can see, of course, over the years it has faded a little bit, but it's basically the same color, light saffron, with the buttons. And if you see color videos of Prabhupada during India, you can see him wearing this kurta down to Alachua. And all my god sisters gathered around, and this is Jamuna. And Jamuna's holding Prabhupada's hat here, this hat that you just had. And she began to sing kirtan for Srila Prabhupada, just over and over, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. It just became more and more ecstatic till we were all circled around holding that. She was a divine presence in my life, just periodically, not
You are there?
Yeah, I'm right there. After his massages and bath in 1976, the last time he came to America, and he went to the New York Rath Yatra, the first New York Rath Yatra. So this is a kimono. It was a bathrobe. And this is the last letter Prabhupada wrote to Jayananda before his passing. Jivava Marava. He also mentions in here that, he's talking about Jayananda's health, and he mentions that even trees live a long life. These trees that he particularly refers to in lectures when he says thousands of years, he's referring to the redwood trees, because he went to Muir Woods, which is a very, very famous redwood forest here. They took him there, and he was in awe, but he always used it as a reminder that trees,
What's the use of that long life?
Yes, they have a long life, but they some of these.
क्या है मैं अंदाज लगा अंगूठी रिंग गोबर नींबू
It is the end of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's cane.
Oh.
No, it's
Yes, it is.
Means, we could
Careful,
not,
careful,
we could
careful.
not understand.
Careful.
But
If you hold your, because it's from 1890s,
1890 1890 का
Bhaktivinoda Thakur's cane, and in his home in Mayapur. What's the name of the island?
Bhakti Bhavan
Island.
Kutrum
Yes, there. And the other inside, you see hanging from this string, you'll see 5 neck beads. Those are Prabhupada's actual neck beads. And I don't know, I'm sure in other places devotees have saved neck beads, but I was told by one person who collected everything that this was the most sacred. He didn't have any either. But every once in a while he would come back, early. And we would be caught there, and we couldn't get out, and there's Prabhupada, and there's really mercy. So at this time, Shrutikirti was his servant, and when Prabhupada slipped off his shoes, they were black, just slip-on shoes, cloth, simple, and he'd been on a walk all over Vrindavan, So when he slipped off his shoes were full of dust, glittering Vrindavan gem-like dust, So there were maybe 10 to 15 devotees at least in a half circle around the outside of Prabhupada's quarters when he had gone in. And so Shrutikirti began to pour dust from Prabhupada's shoes into each hand, and I swear to you, the dust just kept coming and coming. I filled a sack. I did. I filled a little plastic sack with this same dust. It just kept pouring out. It was completely endless, And so over the years, I gave to different devotees down through many, many years. That would have been, 50 years now, almost. And And so it's come to this now. I don't open it anymore. Sorry, I cannot do it.
Mataji, many people from the whole world keep on visiting here, right? To your place.
What?
So many devotees.
So many
visit
Oh yeah.
India.
Well, yeah. It's occasionally. I would like more devotees to come, but I also have to, I have to work, balance schedules, getting in. It seems that we're just starting this summer to take off, because I've only been here 1 year. It was 1 year, April 20th made it 1 year. And in Berkeley Temple was a little more difficult. Just the condition, the room was dark. It was more difficult to show, and then to go on parikram was a big thing over to here. So now Krishna's arranged this by my Jenny, my friend, owns the flat, and she was at the Berkeley Temple one day, and she said, "Would you like to bring everything to my home? Maybe we could do it there. You could do your parikram." And that developed, and we've just slowly come to the point where I think a couple weeks ago I had 60 devotees come at one time, but they didn't all come in here. It was too much, so I took a few things to Golden Gate Park, but we have large groups, but the smaller groups are better because you can actually spend more time physically and everything. But I would like devotees to be able to come no matter what facet of Lord Chaitanya's tree they belong to. There are many branches on Lord Chaitanya's tree, and I don't discriminate. I find that people are overwhelmed with the emotion, and that is a direct relationship with Prabhupada. It has nothing to do with institutions or political differences or even philosophical differences, because it's the heart opening, and that's always something that you can feel in the presence of devotees who are seeking Prabhupada's mercy like that, So, yeah, to answer your question, there's been, I think I counted around in this year time about 130 now, 130 devotees have come, couples, a group like this, and then there was one large group of 60 devotees not long ago, came from Bangalore and from East Bay. Yeah. This is a container that sat on Prabhupada's glass table, if you've seen in Bhaktivedanta Manor in the UK, at the Bhaktivedanta estate there. Prabhupada had a glass table. Yeah, and this was given to him by the devotees. He liked amber very much, and this is 2 big chunks of amber that they gave to Srila Prabhupada, and he would, the fragrance is still very, very much manifest. This is Prabhupada at Hippie Hill, where we're going to go, when Jayananda stole away Lord Jagannath and took him to Hippie Hill, and then Prabhupada walked into the temple and saw Subhadra and Balaram and said, "Where is Jagannath? Where is Jagannath?" And they said, "Oh, Jayananda thought he needed to go out, so he took him to Hippie Hill." Prabhupada said, "Let us go." And that is the time, wonderfully by the arrangement of the Lord, that Prabhupada said, "This is not so good that you just take out Lord Jagannath like this." Now I'm paraphrasing, okay? I'm not saying his exact words, but he goes out on the cart every year. Once a year, he will go out on the cart to give mercy to everyone, and then he began to explain Rath Yatra, and that's how Rath Yatra started first here. We moved from San Francisco Temple, where we were all living, to Berkeley Temple, beautiful Berkeley Temple, and they began to renovate, and the carvings and all the beautiful altar and the marble, and actually all the women devotees got in a line. There were 35 women book distributors, and we got in a line from the truck to the altar and put each piece of it was onyx and marble, passing it up to get it so he could participate in that. But this is a piece of the original Vyasasan. The velvet was all made. It was actually made in Mexico, and it was designed by Baibavi, who's an incredible artist, and did the Utah Salt Lake City temple there, and the ones in Australia also. But she designed this beautiful Vyasasan.
I was just thinking that I have seen somewhere in the photograph, Berkeley Temple. I
Yeah,
just visited
yeah.
that.
And this picture was actually taken outside. We took the Vyasasan outside and did a huge picture.
Yeah, it's there in Berkeley Temple.
Yeah.
Ashadam Hall.
Yeah. That's the only picture I'm in with Prabhupada, in that big picture. My sister's in there also. But anyway, this is Prabhupada on that Vyasasan. And up until about a year ago, they had the same velvet on there. They didn't want to change it. Of course, you don't want to change it. But it was getting old, and they justified to change it and put on fresh velvet. Same colors, very nicely done. But I was there when the devotee was changing it. So I said, what are you going to do with all that cloth that Prabhupada sat on? And he would move his hand like this, and he would lean back on it, and he used the pillows. And she said, I don't know, do you want some? And I said, yes. So I got a big square of it, and I get to give it out to everyone. The plates are sitting on it behind the vase there. I have one square.
That was the original. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yep, yeah.
Perfect.
The product of love by the devotees of Krishna.
Places, especially in the Bay Area and even over to Sacramento, he made many devotees, or helped people become devotees. So we were cleaning his rooms, and he was coming upstairs, very narrow stairs, and Brahmananda, all big sannyasis were around them. We couldn't get out, the women, there were 3 or 4 women. We couldn't get out, so we paid obeisances, and Prabhupada came on up the stairs. He was just right there in front of us. And we didn't know what to do. We would always just, no, what do we do, So we stayed like this, and Prabhupada comes in, and if he turned this way, he would have gone to his rooms, which he ordinarily did. But if he turned this way, he would go down a hall, big long hall, to kitchen. So the devotees, instead of him going to his rooms, they turned him, kind of laughing playfully, to the kitchen. So we were staying there just like, is going to soak it up as much as we can till someone kicked us out, right? And Prabhupada, they had a chair for Prabhupada and a big stainless steel bowl. We couldn't understand what it was. They sat Prabhupada down. Then all the devotees sat down so we could see, and we were looking like straight at Prabhupada down the hall. And they took this bowl, it was filled with kumkum powder. And they sprinkled kumkum powder all over his feet, and everyone was just so joyful and laughing. And the kumkum powder was exploding in the air, and Prabhupada was really laughing and getting a kick out of it, And so that was our image, and then we left. So the next morning, Prabhupada always had white sheets taped down in his room. He liked that over the floor. So when we went in, there were kumkum powder footprints all around his room where Prabhupada had walked, and left these prints for us, for everyone. And this is not the exact ones. This was made for me after I told the story, okay? It was made at Radhakund. The devotees living at Radhakund made some things like this, and this is one of the things they made for me. So anyway, there were the footprints of Prabhupada, right, in kumkum. So I bravely went to the temple president and said, could we keep these footprints? Could we keep these sheets? Because, And he said, no, we only have 2 sets of sheets, and we have to change them, wash them like that. So it was like devastated. We had to wash those sheets. That was the order. Now, I would have never do it. Never. I wouldn't even have asked. I would have taken them, ran away, and bought new sheets or done, something. but anyway, and actually we wore saris and dhotis made of sheets, so we could have done anything else. But my point being, that was my first indication, things are disappearing. Even Prabhupada's footprints could disappear in our simple thinking of washing those sheets rather than keeping those footprints, right? So that was my first indication in 1976, way before Prabhupada left, that, we've got to do something about this. Deity during his householder days, 1970 to 73 or so, during his householder days. Actually, it would have gone earlier, but I can't exactly trace it in the 60s, so I say 1970. But he was carved before, when Lord Jagannath came, then they begin to carve small ones, And Lord Jagannath came to me. He just had Jagannath in his own personal home with his wife, Tridevi. And she was a wonderful devotee also. During a very military, big build-up, but Prabhupada went anyway. And he liked that seat so much that Aitreya Rishi brought it back to Berkeley with him when he came back to the States. So that Prabhupada